Shout out to my co-host, Nick. You know what I'm saying? To my brother, Mile, the exec. Oh, shit. Can't break this shit. I ain't got no money. Can't break nothing. I ain't got no money. So, the first thing I want to do, you know, first, shout out to the Cannons. Shout out to, you know what I mean, to the family. Not a holiday ball, but I like the fact I like to see people smiling because they together. There's family stuff going on. That's a good thing. Always. But I was telling my nieces and nephews, man, about 10 more years, Christmas ain't gonna be a thing. You ain't gonna see no lights. It's gonna be something else. I don't know what it is, but Christmas is fast fade. And people was like, oh, this is a Muslim city, so that's probably you don't see what you see, but nah. I peep it in a lot of places. I ain't really see that holiday cheer. People kind of just moving like they've been moving. You know what I mean? Like, what? Why are we paying attention to this? Everybody know that it's fake. You know what I mean? It's a consumerism thing. You lose your mind for Christmas to be evicted out by the summertime and be acting like you don't know what happened. It's because you spent all that money for Christmas. It's illusionary shit. For shit that was going to get broke, lost. Now since Instagram, you want to show everybody what you bought your kids. You want to get your fame off of that. You know what I mean? But it's been the same thing. Moms losing their mind, because consumerism is a thing. Having things is a thing. Showing that you can overspend money you don't have, especially in the poorest big city in America. That's what I realized about our city. Like me and my daughter was having a conversation yesterday, and it was like when I came home, I hated to hear people like, get out the city, get out the city. And for me, it's always been like a plan to just be able to move around. You know what I'm saying? Just not really live nowhere full time. I think as you grow as an adult, that's what you sort of aspire to do. Be able to be in different places, be around. You know what I mean? For real, for real. Not live and die on your same block, or your block in prison. The only two places you ever travel. I definitely don't want to be one of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? So, I just looked at it like, what is the tension in the city? Like, they did tell me Mercury was in retrograde. I guess I don't know the day limit for it, but it's coming out of that. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things like we poor folk. We poor folk with identity crisis. I had a brother tell me like, yeah, mental illness is real, but what most black people are dealing with is identity crisis on some level. And that's aiding the trauma, adding to the trauma. So in a lot of ways, mental illness is coming out because folks is making transitions that they are not equipped to make because they don't really know who they are. Even in those spaces where we have like clear definitions, but it's still identity crisis for periods, the whole nine, different points in your life, whatever. So I was like, damn, that's a crazy joint because mental illness is a real thing. And I used to say a thing when I was upstate too. But when I came home, I was watching all these zombie movies and all this stuff and not really watching zombie movies. Walking Dead was my shit. I don't really watch, I'm not a sci-fi guy. I mean, that's considered sci-fi, but I don't watch all the different zombie movies. It don't really do it for me. It get a little crazy. And then sci-fi gets a little weird, for my taste or whatever, That's your thing, but I'm not one of them dudes that really get into sci-fi. But I liked The Walking Dead for the dialogue. The things that they talked about, the psychological conditions, because they did a real good job of showing you progressions of people when they under this type of stress. And I really thought it was a good job based on that. And the acting and stuff, I don't, I pay attention to acting. I don't really care. But, you could tell when there's good acting going on. You got a good cast of people coming on. And kind of even people take the show very serious because it has a really, really big cult following. I don't know what season it's on. You know what I mean? But one of my things about mental illness was when I was taking care of my mom when I first came home and I would travel from West Oak Lane to Chester on the bus. And it was overstimulation because at a certain time, it's like all the folks that's homeless, all the folks that's on drugs, all the folks that's mentally ill, just young people, just people that don't got nowhere to go. They just all on the L. Because it ain't all dope fiends and crackheads. It's kids down there. It's just folks that's homeless and it's folks that have mental illness. And all of these folks that's here have some level of mental illness. And it was one of those things where it's like, if I did this every day and just stayed on the L and stayed on the bus, when would I get like desensitized to it? And would that be a good thing, or would that be my sanity slipping? That I can sit on this bus now and take this smell. That these visuals that I'm seeing, people of all, all different types of maladies, I could just sit here and not be overwhelmed by it anymore. Is my sanity slipping because I can get used to this? And then how do I respond to that? So I say that it's like, I see so many people at different levels of mental illness. How do people who are on their healing journey, or sane, if you want to call it, how do you keep dealing with folks when you might be the only sane person in your house? How do you stay sane? And what do that start looking like when you go into a house where the ratio is different? Because you might be doing stuff in your house that seems to be normal. And it's like, how long before these people grind away at your sanity that everybody in the house is basically, some level of mental illness, kind of like losing their mind? Because I peeped that in prison. A lot of those quirks that we see in prison, we have normalized them. But when you see those brothers on the street, you know that that's mental illness playing a part. But in jail, it got normalized. So a cat that's a little off seems normal because there's so many people in this close area that acts like this. So it's to the point where it even almost becomes cultural. Because that's something I feel like I'm seeing with our young folks. The young ones that's like 12, 13, 11. I feel like a lot of what they doing is emulating, their culture is emulating mental illness responses or episodes. Because it's so funny that the kids start with disrespect. When you hear them talk to each other, they call each other all types of pussy, bitches, and dickheads, the boys and the girls. And they be saying, this is my friend. Like I asked my niece one time, like, she was like, man, my friend giving each other the side eye. The side eye is supposed to be something negative. But this is how the babies are dealing with each other. This is what they're beginning with. It's kind of like, I don't want to aspire to be anything because I know you're not going to be a good friend. So we might as well start off being kind of like rude and nasty to each other, and that's how we operate. Because the one day that I come and be nice, you might be rude and nasty, and then I'm going to be hurt. And I'm watching our babies act this shit out. Like, and this is how they deal. And I'm saying I know that comes from us. They see us yelling at each other. They see us snapping on the phone. They see us snapping in the office, not wanting to stand in line. The light is too long. The green was too quick. All of these sponsors that you would normally be like, damn, this person crazy. Or they got something going on. Those are normal responses right now that I see in Philadelphia. Even like a thing that I can explain is like me and all my homies from prison, we kind of yell at each other. That's not really normal, but we normalized it in prison. It became a cultural thing that's okay. But now when I'm in spaces, people think I'm angry. People think we might be ready to fight. They get people get anxiety from from seeing like, what's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm cool. Even when I'm talking to people and I'm just like passionate, but I'm like yelling because this was a normal communication style in jail. And now that I'm home, it's like, but that's not normal to just be yelling. Even though we do it and we understand it, but that's not normal. That's really like one of those, what do people, when people yell, they yell because they snapping out, they upset, they angry, they losing it. That's why people normally yell. And we turn yelling into a normal conversation style. That's like adopting culture of mental illness. Like we're doing things that would normally be assigned to not being okay, and we're making them okay. And then, you got people playing with all of the wording. I talked about that a lot. I'm going to continue to talk about it because people like using the triggers and the boundaries and the, trauma and all these things that you saying you've been through so you could just throw temper tantrums and nobody can say nothing to you. And then you ask like, well, won't you get actual help? I need help. I need help. I need help. Only for you to be able to get away what you've done because you never really go get help. And it's a lot of people like that. That's playing with this language because mental illness is the thing. It's probably going to be the next thing that's in all the grants like gun violence. So get ready. Find your way to try to help heal people for real, or be like some of the gun violence cats and just, throw it up there to get your check. You know what I'm saying? However, but I'm just telling you what the next wave going to be. So if you really want to get into that lane non-profitly and want to help, whether you do Pilates, you do yoga, you deal with crystals, restorative circles, transformative circles, anything that you know that's a skill set, and you have folks that can help people heal, help trauma, help deal with, give people some type of mental illness assistance or mental health assistance. That's where the wave is going. It's always been the thing, because mental illness is a real thing. But like so many things, capitalism makes you do a lot of things with stuff. And a lot of things, these things that's supposed to be well intended and for good reason, are just used to, get capital, And then you can't stop people from being opportunists, because, again, this is a capitalist society. And if you could get it off, you can go down, you could be famous no matter how you got it. If you got it from the streets and you found some way to make it, if you got it legally and you made it, America will celebrate you. Trust, look, we watch mobster movies coming up. That was a celebration of criminal activity. They even told you backstory and tried to give you reasons why these people moved the way they move. And we doing a lot of that now. With 50 doing a lot of that with old drug stories and stuff like that. I don't really like how they being put out there. I think it should be more of a cautionary tale. I think we're talking about a time period in a very celebratory way. Even that type of rap has, because it has a skill set to it. A lot of the cats that talk drug rap have skill, because they come from a time where skill would still mean something. Like, we in the street running around, but cats wanted to hear a dude really could spit. It wasn't just about talking shit or how vicious you could be. Even that stuff stood out, the shock value shit. But we still wanted wordplay. It's one of the things that made Beans so dynamic, talking street shit. Because he had a skill set. Beans could really rap. So we wanted to hear that more. We like a nigga that's real with it and he talking shit, but he don't got, it's going to get dead to your ears after a while. A motherfucker that know how to rap and tell those stories, weave those tales into it, that's something we really be wanting to hear. You know what I mean? So you got a lot of cats talking that right now. And I like to listen to it because I come from that era, but it's straight entertainment to me. But I feel like it's celebrating something that's still going on in the way that it's being presented. Now, some of the brothers that I hear rapping like that, they give you the cautionary tale part. They allow you to know, like, I talk this way because I really lived it. I really did fed time. Niggas really died. All that. But I just think that the way that it's being put out there right now, we dealing with a lot of celebrating a time period that still got us fucked up. You know what I mean? And a lot of this real mental illness is coming from the traumas behind that. Mass incarceration, moms, dads, grandmoms, uncle, aunt being on drugs, being on crack, whole families falling apart because the person who was the teacher, the banker, the lawyer start using crack, and they was the only one in the family to hold shit together, and that was a struggle. And now they on crack, and it's like the nephew takes over the reins, but he's taking over the reins at 15 years old with 4.5. That's going to be short-lived, and you never going to get that aunt's productivity back, and the family not going to never have a structure, so you probably not going to have another person like the aunt for at least 2 more generations. Just check it, y'all, because we was already starting from behind. So, we talking those tales and watching shows like Snowfall and all that. I do think Snowfall is very well done. You feel what I'm saying? It do try to give it to you from all angles, but you know how it goes. It's like when Juice came out. Juice was really a cautionary tale, but the way that we culturally were geared towards stuff, we only took out of it what we were like used to seeing immediately in the street. You feel what I'm saying? We ain't here. I'm glad I just thought of this. We ain't hear Lawrence Fishburne talking about gentrification, bro. And we talk about this shit now like it's new. Lawrence Fishburne was talking about gentrification in the 90s. If you go watch, what's that, Boys in the Hood, or that's Menace? Lawrence Fishburne was the dad in Boys in the Hood. Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne was, dad? What the fucking boy name, the actor boy? I can't think of his fucking name, but y'all, who? Cuba Gooding. He was Cuba Gooding pop. I mean, Cuba Gooding, I can't even get it out. Lawrence Fishburne was Cuba Gooding's pop. When they went around the op neighborhood, because they were scared, and his dad said something else that always carried with me. Like, it's the 90s. It's too late to be scared of your own people, son. We ain't going to be able to figure this shit out. If y'all scared, it's like right now, y'all running around, young boys with the mask. Everybody's scared of them. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. But anyway, he really was talking about gentrification in the 90s. They call that foreshadowing, but we couldn't see it because culturally we were already bent to see a narrow vision. Like how they turn all of the black power people into caricatures now. So when you start saying certain things about being black, certain people turn you off like, oh, here comes one of these niggas again with the black shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because they done geared us to look at shit a certain way, and then once they start popularizing it in some way through music, TV, or movies, video games, now you got a generation of people coming up seeing it as a caricature. So now when they see a real person in the flesh, that's the only thing they can relate it to. It's something Witchamcom did that was real vicious, and I didn't really peep it until I was upstate. As an educated brother, reading books, trying to enlighten people, trying to enlighten my family, trying to make sure that I add more vocabulary to myself so I could be able to articulate myself, because I learned, like, the more I read, the more I could figure out. When I would get into certain situations, I would see my brothers not knowing. Like, I'm like, damn, bro, you really? But I'm feel confident in these spaces because I'm like, I read about this. The way she acting, I read about that. What he just said, I read about that. I know what type of person he is. He started talking about Rush Limbaugh. But this shit my brothers ain't know. They ain't know. This nigga listen to Rush Limbaugh every morning. He's a conservative Republican, Christian, white man from Middle Pennsylvania. He not playing with you, bro. He not. That's not a joke. It's just that you're not informed enough to know when you see these things layered, it's a good chance these people think like this about you. I'm just being real. Look it up. Look at the policies they pass. When they protest and shit, look what they out there. When a black person get killed, who's sending the money to the GoFundMe for the cop? But anyway, man, I just recognize that mental illness is, for me right now, is feeling like it's so overwhelming, right? Because of your trauma, that's where you done went to, or you really have an episode. You know, so I'm like, damn, how can I keep my sanity if this what I'm dealing with? And most people in our city are dealing with that, with either people either really being mentally ill or people acting like they're mentally ill, which is fucking killing the people who are just sane and trying to figure this shit out, trying to build, heal, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do I do? Because do I come down there with you? Do I get into that? Do I lose my mind trying to figure it out? Because I might not have the tools. Because that's something else. A lot of people who have mental illness are around people who don't have the tools to deal with them. So what do you do with that? And I think that's like one of those final things that's going on, where America has always been a fight for your brain, whoever you are. Racial shit goes on all day. We know this bitch was built off of racism, but they try and play with everybody's brain, because at the end of the day, those who are empowered, those who have position, whatever level they on, is trying to stay there for the most part. So the less people that can think, that's good for them. I tend to be one of those people that like to be around a lot of people that can think. That's me, because I don't really want to control these people. I don't really want to have to tell them what to do. I kind of all want us to play our part, jump in our role, and make this shit jump. We all have an understanding, so there is no debate about roles and what's going on and why I should do this and why I shouldn't do that. So I really like being around people who can think. And thinking is a taught thing, you know what I mean? Like critical thought, being able to understand outcomes is major. And that's not there at all for our folks. And it's not even being required. And we have clearly been dumbed down over time to where even, you know, I've had so many people say to me, why are you using that word? Why you don't just use this word? And I'm like, for real though, like I'm a problem because I'm using a word that you don't understand, that you can very easily learn. Just another way to be able to articulate yourself in a moment so you can have clarity with people you talking to. And more than anything else, what I always tell people from when I was in the courtroom as a 20, 21, 22-year-old man who thought he was smart, and people were speaking English and I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. And oh yeah, they was deciding on my life with this language. And I ain't know what the fuck they was talking about. I don't never want to be in that space. And if people if they comfortable with being in those spaces, that's more mental illness, I guess, going on. Because I don't like being places where people are at least speaking. I don't like being places where people are speaking another language and I don't know what the fuck is being said. But that really go to a whole new level when people are speaking English and you don't know what's going on. You should feel some type of way about that. That should eat you up inside. When you don't know, you should be upset, not with the people that know, though. Don't be upset with them. Be upset with yourself so you can go learn, so you can know. Put yourself in position to know. Put yourself around people that can give you information to know. So, you know, that's like my main thing, man. Thinking, figuring shit out. I get flustered and be ready to lose my sanity when I can't figure shit out. So some shit I gotta just step back from it, cause I really can't figure it out. And I'm trying, and it's just not making sense. Cause I'm a person that's like, let's put the facts out there, the real facts. Not the campaign facts that you came up with to try to win an argument or something that you add your lies to. Let's put the real facts up and then we can figure it out. But if we ain't putting the real facts up, we never going to figure it out. That's going to cause me stress. And I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to lose my mind. Cause I listen, for all intents and purposes, my shit supposed to be fucked up. And I know it because I seen enough of my brothers and sisters, you know? But for whatever reason, I was blessed to hold it together. Now I come home and the shit is like, my elder always comes out in my head like, I remember being upstate and this man said to me, everybody want to go home. I know you want to go home. I want to go home. I've been here too fucking long. You know what I'm saying? But remember that out there is what created this. This place that you hate so much that you don't want to be. People, physical bodies, minds, writing ability, policies came up with this and built it to do what it's doing because it's an apparatus. PA prisons is trying to make you lose your mind. You can see it as our brothers and sisters come home. Low intensity warfare, the gladiator school shit, like they was cool with that, the physical shit, but the same way how with slavery, you need the physical shit to get them in line. In order to maintain it, you got to fuck with between their ears. You got to make them believe something that ain't true so they can keep doing what they was doing when you was telling them you was going to bust them in the fucking head to do it. The fear get them in line. Another thing I learned in prison, and I know people don't like to deal with it like this, when it's chaos, the most violent motherfuckers is going to get order first. And then we can figure everything else out after that. But you're not going to be able to maintain whatever you put in order with violence. You got to give people something to believe in, something real, something fake, something. But you got to tell them something so they'll keep doing what you wanted them to do without you having to stab and punch them and kick them all the time, because you ain't going to be able to keep doing that. Because the thing about violence is clear and present danger makes a person keep having to respond to it. If I make you think that it's no more clear and present danger, you'll just go on and do what I need you to do. You won't want to respond. You won't want to fight it. Don't you see that? We see what's going on, and we don't be wanting to fight it. Everybody be trying to find they lane, like, no, I'm over here with it. I'm over here. Nobody want to meet it head on, you know what I'm saying? And they did a masterful job of making us like that, too. But I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I come up here. I do this show. I do Philly Service Announcement, PSA. You know what I'm saying? I do this. And I've learned a big part for me is therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? Because when my days don't be how I expect my days to be, and I can come through the show, I'm good after that. And I got the entrepreneur joint after this, so I'm a little pipe. I took care of some business today. I got things lined up. I'm working on shit. I'm always moving. Whenever I feel like I'm the most stressed, I already know I'm a hard-working dude because this is just what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? But when I feel like I'm a little stressed, sad, depressed, whatever it is, I just want to work harder. I want to build more. I want to create more. I want to put more opportunity out there. So shout out to Eddie's House. All the different opportunities that's being presented to our people, returning citizens. Like, Yo, it's a lot being presented there. It's a lot of opportunities there. You know, we went from having one agency to reentry, to Cornerstone Drop-In Center, to CCIP, to community navigators in the schools trying to help young folks who are housing who are housing insecure or housing unstable, and that being a reason that they might drop out of school. And we helping get in front of that. We get in front of that with the parent to try to whatever is the thing that can keep this baby in school and having somewhere to go lay their head. That's how we operating. You know, process is process. Whenever you got a lot of people involved in something, you're gonna have process, and that's gonna take time. Process is different from bureaucracy. You know, bureaucracy is normally people trying to confuse the issues and making you go through all this paperwork and red tape just to deter you and switch the issue and keep you from doing what you need to be doing, just to hold the process up for them for whatever reason. But process is going to take time, is the amount of people that you add into it. On some end, labor can be quicker because you got more people. But if we talk about process, and process is normally paperwork, then more people, the more paperwork, because every person has a paper trail. So if your organization starts off with 5 people, the paperwork might not be that serious. So the process might be quick for those 5 workers, employees, whatever they are in the organization or business. But when you add 20 people, now you got 20 people worth of paperwork on both sides of it, their personal stuff and whatever they have to probably document as a part of their job. And then the more people you get, the more paperwork you're going to have to do, and the longer process is going to take. And you're going to have to get more resources. So at certain times you might grow and you don't have enough resources to fulfill the needs yet. So process, I can give you an example. Like if we got 6 houses on deck, but we got 12 people that need housing, that first 6, that process might go through fast. But now we're trying to find more housing. We're trying to find more resources. But behind the fact that you got 6 people to process, but you started with 12, so that was a process in and of itself. Getting everybody referred out, making sure they got all the information they need, they up to speed. You want to do everything they need to do in order for them to get in the house. That's process. The more people you got, the more time that's going to take. And then whatever your resource is, you got to make sure you got enough of that on deck. Whether it's something that you're privately producing and utilizing it as a resource, or it's something that comes from a grant or a funder or a donor, whatever the name is, or who helping you get this resource to give out. Now that's another process to get the resources from them to give to people if you're not already producing it privately, or what you have privately might be all used up. So now so that's why you gotta have all these different sources. So process is always gonna be there just because it's people, and especially when we start talking about paperwork and processes and protocols and policies. But are the people that's in this process really working towards getting the people the resources? And that's something I could say that I do, and the people who work around me, they do the same thing. So on both sides of it, you know, I'm happy to have this opportunity and help create opportunity. Because at the end of the day, no matter how it turned out, I'm going to give people the opportunity to empower themselves. I don't want power to tell people what to do. I don't want power to get people to do shit for me. I don't. My power is to help influence you so you could do your own thing. Give you opportunity, put you around people so you can run with your own shit. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep creating and building and providing opportunities, and in turn empowering people, in particular my people. You know, them Alkebulanians. The ones who know who they are and the ones who don't. We just gonna keep fighting this fight. You know, so my day started off, you know, and then I matriculated through, and then I seen some things, I was like, But you know what I do, man? I love my people, man. And the pain for me in any situation be because it's like, damn, for whatever reason, I couldn't love you enough to make it work, because I never not wanted to work. I'm never a bull that's trying to sabotage intentionally. I always wanted to work. It just looked better. It feel better. I can't say everybody does that, but me, always. And when it don't work, that's the part that hurt. The fallout is the fallout. The part that hurt is like, damn, it didn't work. And that was my intention. I thought I did everything in my power to make it work. It didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, I love black people! Yo, I had to get that out. Listen, man, I got Slills. Get out the way for my brothers, man. Listen, I'll be back next week better than ever. I know I've been missing in action a little bit, but it's a lot of things moving. It's always positive, even if it started off negative. Like I said, this morning was like, and then I'm back. And now I'm about to go to my entrepreneur class. We got an entrepreneur class. We got a high school diploma class. We got a solar joint. It's only $60. You can learn how to install and repair solar. Cornerstone is a parting hub. Come through, holla at me about getting the parting process going, the expungement going. Just get with me, man. The opportunities is around, man. Let's link, let's work, let's collaborate. Yo, this is PSA, Philly Service Announcement, Takeover Tuesday, Takeover Love, Support, Grace, Social Activism, Resources, and Art. I am the Assist, African Support and Strength, Inspiration, and Success together. I love all y'all, man. That's what we doing out here. I'm out. Good looking, y'all.